What's going on, guys? Welcome into another video. Today we are talking about ships, particularly my ships and what ships I currently own in the game and what ships I'm going to be getting going to 2024 in the future. So without further ado, let's get into it. And the only thing that I ask, guys, is you do me a huge favor that you like and you subscribe to the channel and you drop a comment on the video. Let me know what ships you have in your fleet and tell me why you got them. Let's have a conversation. Keep it respectful as always, and let's go ahead and get started. So I've done a lot of videos on ships. I've been talking about ships and all that kind of stuff, but I did want to give a little bit of context to my current fleet and why I have these certain ships. And I think it's good for you guys to know like what I'm rocking with and why. So the first ship that we're gonna be putting on here is, of course, we have to put this ship. We got to put the FAC Lightning. I have this ship particularly whenever we do get a full wipe again, a full persistence wipe, you're going to need a ship that you can go out and you can do bounties with off the bat. And I actually replaced my Scorpius for this. I got rid of the Scorpius and I went ahead and I got this because I always said if the F8 ever went on sale that I would get one. So I stuck with that. I went ahead, got me an F8, and that was pretty much just to do the bounties and stuff like that and the service beacons when there is a full persistence wipe. If you guys are new to the game, there's been a lot of wipes so far this year. We haven't had one in months currently, but I do expect at some point in the future to get a wipe, and this is going to be like an excellent starting place for a ship. Even though I think that getting it kitted out is going to be quite expensive. You know, the weapons, there's a lot of guns on here. The shields are pretty expensive, but all in all, I still think it's, one of the better fighters, one of the better heavy fighters in the game, and puts out around 4,000 DPS. So it's really, really good. Well, 4,000 DPS with repeaters. It's a little bit different with ballistic and stuff like that. But all in all, I still think it's a great NPC bounty hunting ship. It's a good PvP ship. It's a good all-arounder, and that's why I currently have it in my fleet. The next one we're gonna go to, it's a Drake ship. So let me get down here. So first I'm gonna go through the ships that I currently own with money. So these are my money ships. So I have a Drake Cutter Scout. Can we get it on the screen? There we go. I have the Cutter Scout, and I got this one because when the scanning gameplay comes on, it's gonna be a very useful ship for pathfinding. For looking for different resources, for even doing things like PvP, like pirating. This is going to be good because you're going to be able to scan a large area. You're going to be able to see who's doing what, who has what on their ships, who has quantum drive spooled, and you'll be able to set a marker to those people. So this is going to be a very, very useful ship as far as like doing things like what its intended gameplay is, and that's scouting. And yeah, so that's the Cutter Scout, and that's why I got it. Also, it's a good ship to have. Like if I want to get rid of it, if I want to get something bigger, it's always a good platform to upgrade from. So that's why I have the Cutter Scout. Next ship, I'm going to be going with the Spirit A1. I pledged for this ship when it was in concept, and I have to be honest about this ship. I've been a little bit disappointed with the A1. When it first came into the game, we didn't get to test it in the PTU, which I think that was a big mistake by CIG, because a lot of the things that were wrong with it, we could have addressed that in the PTU, and then it could have came into the live servers in a better state. And with it coming into the live servers in that state, it leaves like, it's like the first impression, right? It's a bad impression, a bad taste in your mouth. And while I think the upgrades, the updates they made to it are really, really good, I still think that there's some things about the ship that still need to be changed. And one of those things particular is the way the bombs drop. So the bombs, they drop very, very slowly. You really can't carpet bomb. Like sometimes if you want to drop, multiple bombs in a small condensed area, there's like a 2.5 second delay between each bomb drop. So depending on how fast you're flying, that second bomb and that third bomb, depending on how many you drop, they can end up like kilometers apart, like 5 or 6 kilometers away from your original target. And that's just not going to get the job done. So this is a ship that I'm kind of leaning on the fence of like, do I really want to keep this ship? Do I want to get rid of it? I'm gonna stick with it for now. But if something comes out that's better, that can do like this role better, I know that CIG said they're going to be putting out more bombers coming in the future. And bombing, bounty hunting is kind of like the gameplay style that I kind of want to do. So if they put out a better bomber in the next year or so, I'll probably go ahead and get rid of the A1 just because I feel like it does its role well and it's good, but it's not really as advertised. So for me, it's been a little bit disappointing. But I still have the A1. I still like it. It's still, it has a short claim time, which I do like that. So, if I'm somewhere else and I don't have like a ship that I feel like I want to fly, I can always claim the A1 because it's only like 2 to 3 minutes to wait for that ship. So, but all in all, I still think it's a good ship. But I'm really not that impressed by it. But it does, like I said, it does work. But I'm still like on the fence about it. And then we're going to get to the last ship that I actually own with money, and that's going to be the Zeus MR. Yep, so the Zeus MR is the other ship that I own currently with money. I currently have an A1 as a loaner, so I technically have 2 A1s right now. And that was one of the reasons I was considering getting rid of the A1 is because I already have a loaner, a A1 loaner for the MR. So I was just kind of like, if they put out something else, I still have an A1 until, the MR comes out. And by the time the MR comes out, I'm pretty sure the Zeus will be able to be purchased in game. So that's another reason why I was considering getting rid of it. We'll see what they put out over the next year. Maybe I could switch to the Santoki for a little bit. We'll check that one out. But for now, these are the only ships that I currently have in game. With my current gameplay style, I only play with like 2 to 3 other people at any given time. That could change in the future, and I'll get bigger ships. Well, I do actually own bigger ships, or different ships in the game as well. We're gonna cover those here in just a second. We'll probably put those on a different row. But these are the ships that I currently own in game right now. And for like a small starter fleet, I think this is pretty great because all these ships you can pretty much solo, and 2 of these ships you can ride with other people, especially this one. So those are the only ships that I currently have in game right now. But now I want to get into the ships that I currently have purchased in game. Since we're already down here with RSI, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Scorpius. I currently have we can put these. Yeah, I'll be putting them in the back. I currently have a Scorpius in game. The Scorpius is one of my favorite ships in game. Like I said, I upgraded, the Scorpius to this ship. So I currently have this one in game just because, there was no reason for me to really keep it as a pledge ship. Like I said, because it is purchased, you can literally go buy it. It's a fantastic crude ship. It does a lot of damage. It flies well in Atmo. I'm a really big proponent of having ships that fly well in 0G and Atmo. It's not a light fighter. But it is one of my favorite ships. I like the X-Wing style. I love everything about it. I love the weapon rack. It's a great all-arounder. It's a great daily driving ship. And I'm actually going to get ready to do a video on the ships that I think are great daily drivers. And the Scorpius is one of those ships. So I got a Scorpius. If you don't have a Scorpius in your fleet, put one in your fleet. It's a great ship. The next ship that I have in game, since we're down here, I have Origin. I have the 600i Touring. I was told to get this ship because somebody told me that it was a great alternative for like a bounty hunting ship, and it has a lot of multi-role function to it. Currently, I don't think the ship is in a really good state. I was really hoping that we would get the 600i rework this year during IAE, but we didn't, and so that's really been like a I don't know how to put it, but it's been really like a disappointment, so to speak, that we haven't gotten the rework yet. It has internal storage and it has a storage grid and all that stuff, but you can't access that storage grid from outside the ship. So like if we want to like run and do, if you wanted to do like pirating and stuff like that with your 600i, there's really no way to get that cargo onto your cargo grid. So it's really kind of like a useless ship right now until they get the changes into the game. And once they do, I think it'll be in a much better place. But for now, this ship just pretty much sits in my hangar or in the ASOP terminal. I think if we get a full persistence wipe, I don't think I'll be buying another one of these ships in the game. So 600i guys. I know a lot of people love this ship, and I think it's okay, but I don't know. I don't really feel a need for exploration ships other than like, having like a mobile med bed. But even then, like the character does that well. Even if I were to get something like an 890 jumping game, it would be to do like shenanigan stuff. Like me and Scarred and Camp and a bunch of other people, we got an 890 out and we got a bunch of grenades, and we were just in the 890's front hangar just throwing grenades at each other, just doing silly stuff like that. I think that's something that you can use the 890 or one of these other luxury ships for. But other than that, like I don't really have a need for one of these games or one of these ships. Maybe when the exploration stuff gets into the game a little bit better, maybe the ships will be a little bit more useful, especially the expedition variant of the 600i. But like for right now, I don't know. I think I'll pass on the 600i in the future. Moving up, I have a Vulture in the game. I have a Vulture. It's a cheap ship to get. Just keeping with that. Just keeping with that Drake. That Drake standard for cheap functional ships, especially with the salvage gameplay coming more online and the munching. Salvage is becoming one of those professions like where you can actually do it, and it's quite nice. The Vulture is kind of slow with the whole scraping and stuff like that. I do find the Vulture UI to be a little bit too busy for me, but I still think it's a great ship. If you want to get started into that salvage gameplay, I would like to see a manufacturer actually make something a little bit bigger than the Vulture, something that's maybe designed for like 2 to 3 people. That way, because the Vulture is kind of cramped, and you can run 2 people, but it's a ship that's designed for just one person. But I like the Vulture, like I said, with the salvage gameplay coming online. I think it's one of those ships that you can do a bunch of different stuff with. It's a ship that not a bunch of different stuff, but you can do the salvage game. The salvage profession is now a viable option, and from time to time, depending on what we're doing, as far as like my crew goes, we'll probably need like Vulture or a Reclaimer. So I went ahead and picked up a Vulture. So that's why I got one in the fleet. I have a Cutlass Blue for right now. The Cutlass Blue, I also think, is a fantastic ship. I was hoping that for the MR, the Cutlass Blue was going to be the loner ship. I think CIG kind of missed the ball on that one. That would have been a great ship to have as a. It would have been a great ship to have as a loner, but again, it's available to buy in game. It has plenty of weapons. It's fast. It has the dampener. There's no interdiction. There's no there's no snare, so you can't pull him out of quantum, but you can keep him from going into quantum or keep him from getting away. Fantastic bounty hunting ship, fantastic PvP ship. You can put the 48 size 1 missiles on it and turn it into a missile spam boat. So yeah, the blue is great. That's why I have it in my current fleet. I like it more than I like the black, and the reason I like the ship the most is because it has a nice cockpit. It doesn't have like all that stuff in the way of like visibility. The visibility in this ship is great, and I really like it. So that's why I have the blue, and you're my boy Blue. And if you get that reference, then we are now best friends. All right. Last but not least, not last but not least, I have an Ion. Can't forget about the Ion. So let me just grab this guy over here. I have an Ion for the same purpose that I currently have the F8. The F8 is good at doing bounties. It's good at doing certain things. But when it comes to taking out bigger ships, I've tested the Ion and I've tested the F8. And when it comes to taking out bigger ships like Reclaimers, Hammerheads, and all that kind of stuff, the Ion is still king. The way that these ships put out their DPS is very different. Like the F8's more of a spread, and it's more designed to deal with like other fighting ships, like light fighters, like other heavy fighters. That's where it really excels. But where this ship, the Ion, really excels at is taking out hammerheads and anything like that. You can even solo an Idris in the current gameplay with a hammerhead, not with a hammerhead, but with an ion. You can solo it with a lot of different ships too, but I think the ion is still one of the better ones to do it. I know people will say, "Oh, you can do it with the Corsair," but the Corsair can't take hits and it doesn't move as well as the ion does. So that's why I have the ion. Fantastic ship. I love the ship. I love the size 7. It's great. And yep, that's why I have it. And last but not least, we're going to talk about my favorite ship in the game currently, and that is the A2. You can get it on the screen. There we go. I'll put it right here. That's fine. Currently have the A2. I daily drive this ship quite a bit. Sometimes I solo it by myself. I don't always solo it. Most of the time I have Canop with me as my gunner. And sometimes I'll have my boy Scarden as a gunner too. But as far as like a ship that can do everything, it's literally this ship right here. You can do cargo with it. You can do PvE bounty missions. You can do bounty hunting with it. You can do piracy with it. Also, it doesn't really make for that great of a pirate ship, but where it really excels at in piracy is that the way that we do piracy with the A2 is a little bit different. So what we'll actually do is we'll bunker bust. So we'll go to like a bunker, we'll drop a bomb, and most of the time we don't fly away. But what we'll do is we'll send a group of guys down with FPS weapons in the bunker to go after the loot goblins. And with the new cargo boxes coming online, we're going to be doing a lot of that, busting these guys up on the ground, taking their loot, and it's going to be good fun. I'm excited to get back to bunker busting. So those are my current ships. This is like my current fleet in the game. I think it's a solid fleet. You know, it's not like the most impressive by any means, but this is what I got, and you know. These in my opinion are really good ships. I'm actually gonna switch that around. Yeah, put it like that. I think these are great ships to have in the game currently. Can't go wrong with either of them, but any of them. But I'm gonna talk about the ships that I want to add to the fleet here in the future, and I'll probably put them over here. There's not too many other ships that I actually want in the game. I will put an outlier here because I haven't bought this ship in the game again just yet. But I had a Corsair for a long time, and I was actually doing a series where I was living on board the Corsair as I was trying to work my way up to getting an A2. I was trying to see if the Corsair was actually, better than the Ion, but I figured that, like I said, with the way the Corsair flies and how weak it is, you don't really want to be taking hits because a couple of hits and you have a major torque imbalance, and the ship becomes unflyable. But the Ion, I was able to work through those service beacons and bounties and stuff like that, and I got up to my A2 much quicker than I could just doing the Corsair. But the Corsair, you can do things like cargo. You can still do a lot of the bounty missions, and take the drugs because it has internal storage and stuff like that. But I will leave this on here as an outlier because I did have one at one point, and it was my pledge ship at one point. So there's that. So, but now I want to talk about ships that I actually want to get in the future. And like I said, there's not too many other ships that I would actually consider getting, but we're going to start with one that I do plan on getting next year when they do have their next big ship sale. And that's going to be the Perseus. And the reason I'm going to get the Perseus is, like I said, I typically play with a small crew. So, and listen, guys, when I start talking about ships and stuff, especially in the manner that I do, I'm not trying to convince you to get I'm not trying to convince anyone to downsize their fleet or to do anything with their fleet, or because like these ships cost real money and you have to live with the consequences of you buying a certain ship. So I'm not trying to convince you to do anything like that. I'm just sharing my opinion and my perspective as someone that plays the game almost daily. So that's the reason why, I talk the way that I do. And all of my opinions are subjective. to how I review to how I view reality and how I view the game. So do take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. And if you are thinking about spending your own money to get any of these ships, just make sure it's a ship that you actually want to get, and make sure that you actually done the research and you actually know your gameplay styles. Like I figured out already the kind of gameplay style that I want to play in this game, which is bounty hunting, bombing, and PvP. So that's my style of gameplay. A lot of people, they don't want to do that. A lot of people want to be more of an industrialist. So if you're an industrialist and you like my content, just understand like I'm not really going to ever speak from the standpoint of an industrialist. Okay, so there's that. The reason I want this ship, like I said, is because I usually run with a small crew, and I find that it's easier to get a smaller group of people together to run a ship. And I know that in the future, like AI technology or the AI blades and the NPCs are going to be able to be hired, but I still keep the stance that I feel like the AIs are meant to be like a supplement to your human crew, and I feel like the way the way that CIG is going to plan on balancing that is like the best AI crew members or the best NPC crew members are going to be very, very expensive to maintain and to hire. So I think it's always going to be a better idea to get, some NPC, not some NPC, but some real human people and make friends. Star Citizen is better with friends. So that's the reason why I got the Perseus. And that's also because it does some things the A2 doesn't do. And it's a smaller ship, and I hope that it flies similar to how the A2 flies. With the mass changes, the A2 is a little bit worse than Atmo than it has been in the past, but it's still quite manageable if you know what you're doing. With the Perseus, the size 7s, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage. It's going to have 20 size 5 torpedoes, and I think that's great. I think that's going to be a really good ship to pilot, to crew, and all that stuff. And a lot of my friends that play the game have other ships that I can be a crew on. So I don't really feel the need to get a lot of the other ships, but I do planning on getting a ship for the org next year. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can get that done. And I haven't decided what cruise ship that I want to get yet, just because, like I said earlier, or what ship I want to get yet for the org, just because, like I said earlier, I know how hard it is to get people to crew for ships. But I'm either leaning towards an Idris currently. Actually, before we talk about that, we're talking about the Idris here in a second. But there's another ship that I've been considering getting as well, for exploration, and that's just because of what its capabilities of. And I was really looking at the ship a lot during IAE, and that's the Miss Odyssey. You can put the Odyssey over here. I really want to get an Odyssey for the exploration. I think it does the exploration a little bit different than the Carrack. The Carrack is more like it's decent at combat, right? But I feel like this ship with the size 5 weapons on the turrets, the capital size shield, it being able to find, refine, and mine and refine its own fuel, having a tractor beam bespoke out the gate. I think it's going to be a fantastic exploration ship, and I really like to add one to my fleet. But I would definitely get a Perseus first, and this will kind of be like an afterthought. If there's like a ship that I can CC you up to, if I like, for instance, if I want to get rid of the, I don't know if I want to get rid of the A1, I can start chaining that up to an Odyssey. But I do planning, but then again, I probably will be planning to get this one first. So we'll see, man. A lot of things are unknown right now, but I do plan on getting an Odyssey and a Perseus for the crew, for my small crew, and then I'm also thinking about not Javelin, but Idris for a cruise ship for the org. It'll be our org ship, and we can go out and we can do different things. And the reason for the Idris, the Javelin is cool, but the Idris, you can actually like land on planets. It's not locked to just being in space like like Javelin is, and I feel like that gives this ship a really big advantage. It has the railgun on the front, which does a lot of damage. You can put fighters inside of here. You know, it can really be like a mobile base. And when we have like, if you know, if the servers ever hold up, if the servers become good, and you know, more people can have their crewed ships out and you know doing different things, I think a Javelin, not Javelin, but an Idris would be an excellent ship to have in the game. And I would love to, you know, crew with everybody in my Discord. You know, my Discord's been blowing up lately, so thank you guys for that. And again, let me know what in the comments, like what ships that you currently have in your fleet. Like I said, I don't have that many ships in my fleet, but you know, I'll put these over here because these are future ships. So we're gonna keep these separate, you know, for my current fleet. And I don't have the Corsair anymore, but you know that could be easily bought in game again. There are ships that CIG like has given as well, but I don't really count those because I really don't use them. Like I have a Scythe, I don't use it. They gave me an Aurora MR, I don't use it. So I only count the ships in the game that I actually use and that I actually fly, and the ships in the game that I actually want to fly. And these are the 3 that I would actually consider getting in the future. Somebody would probably ask, like, why not the Benny Merchantman? I think it's an excellent choice, but like I said, I already have a friend that has one. I don't have a friend that has a Perseus. I don't have a friend that has an Odyssey. I don't have a friend that has an Idris. So those are ships that I would be looking to add to the fleet in the future. And guys, this has been a long video, but if you made it to the end, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.